the night George stopped being afraid. George was 34 years old, and fear had always lived with him. It wasn't dramatic fear, the kind that screams or runs. It was quiet, patient, the kind that sat beside him on the couch and reminded him of everything that could go wrong. George was afraid of confrontation, afraid of loud noises, afraid of making mistakes, afraid of becoming the center of attention for any reason at all. And more than anything, George was afraid of asking Brittany out. She lived 2 houses down, in a small blue home with white trim and a porch that creaked when she stepped onto it. She lived there with her grandmother, whom George had seen slowly tending the garden every morning like a ritual. Brittany was 28, kind in a way that didn't demand attention, the kind of person who waved first, who returned shopping carts that weren't hers, who smiled at strangers like she genuinely meant it. Every afternoon, without fail, she stepped outside at 4:12 p.m. to collect the mail. George knew because he watched. Not in a creepy way, he told himself. Just observantly. He sat by his living room window, pretending to read, pretending to scroll his phone, pretending to be busy with a life that felt much smaller than it should have. When Brittany opened her mailbox, the sun usually hit her just right, catching in her hair. She always paused, flipping through envelopes as if hoping for something good. George always thought, today could be the day. And then fear would answer, tomorrow is safer. So tomorrow came and went. That evening, the television filled the silence the way it always did. George wasn't watching it so much as letting it exist. Background noise to keep his thoughts from getting too loud. Then the anchor's tone shifted. Breaking news tonight. Police are actively pursuing a suspect believed to be responsible for multiple violent attacks across the county. Authorities say the suspect is on foot and has entered a residential neighborhood. Residents are advised to stay inside and lock all doors. George's stomach tightened. The suspect's blurry image appeared on screen. The words, "armed and dangerous," followed. George turned the volume down, as if fear worked that way. He stood, double-checking the locks on the front door, then the back door, then the windows. He laughed nervously at himself and shook his head. "You're fine," he whispered. That's when the lights flickered. Once, twice, then everything went dark. The hum of the refrigerator died. The television snapped off mid-sentence. Silence rushed in like water filling a room. George froze. Power outages didn't scare him. Not usually. But tonight was different. He reached for his phone on the coffee table, and his hand met empty space. His chest sank. He remembered leaving it in the car earlier, after unloading groceries and telling himself he'd grab it later. Later had arrived. George stood in the dark, weighing options. He could wait it out, sit on the couch, do nothing. That was his specialty. But the thought of being unreachable, of something happening and having no way to call for help, pressed against his ribs. After several long minutes of internal debate, George grabbed his jacket and stepped outside. The neighborhood felt wrong. Too quiet. Too dark. The streetlights were out. Houses loomed as silhouettes, their familiar shapes suddenly unfamiliar. Gravel crunched beneath his shoes, each sound amplified. He unlocked the car, leaned in, and grabbed his phone. That's when he saw it. Movement. Inside his house. A shape crossed the living room window. George's breath caught in his throat. His hand shook as he dialed 911. 911, what's your emergency? There's someone in my house, George whispered. I think it might be the phone went black. Dead. George stared at the screen, his pulse roaring in his ears. No, he whispered. No, no, no. He stayed in the car. Minutes passed, or maybe seconds. Time stretched thin. Then, slowly, the bedroom light came on. Then the kitchen. Then the living room. George watched, frozen, as if the house itself were waking up. Someone screamed. Sirens wailed in the distance. Suddenly, a police officer swung the front door open and pointed straight toward George's driveway. There he is! George's heart slammed into his ribs. For a split second, terror overpowered reason. All George saw were guns. All he felt was fear. Instinct took over. He threw the car into reverse and slammed his foot down on the pedal. The engine roared. And then, impact. A body struck the back of the car with a sickening thud. George felt the jolt shudder through the frame as he hit the brakes. Breath ripped from his lungs. Shouts erupted. Officers rushed forward, surrounding the figure on the ground. Only then did George realize the truth. The man the police had been pointing at wasn't George at all. It was the suspect, the killer, who had slipped out of George's house and ran directly behind the car in a desperate attempt to escape. George had stopped him without meaning to. Silence followed. Then cuffs snapped shut. You stopped him from getting away, the officer said. You're a hero tonight. Hero. The word felt unreal. As neighbors gathered, patting his shoulder, thanking him, George felt something unfamiliar blooming in his chest. Not pride, not fear, but clarity. Then he saw Brittany. She stood near her grandmother, eyes wide with concern. When their gazes met, something softened. They smiled. Awkward, quiet, real. George took a breath. For the first time, he didn't let fear speak first. Hey, he said. I've been wanting to ask you something for a long time. Brittany tilted her head, smiling. Would you like to go out sometime? She nodded. I'd really like that. And in that moment, under flashing lights and fading fear, George realized something important. He hadn't stopped being afraid. He had just stopped letting fear decide.